Figures of speech. Now, by figures of speech, we mean literary devices employed in drama, prose, and poetry. And most times, these figures of speech are used extensively in work of poetry. Now, what are some of the figures of speech we have? Below, a list of them. Number one, simile. What is simile? Simile is a figure of speech in which two dissimilar things or ideas are compared using the words like or as. Now, please take note. In this figure of speech, like or as is used to compare two things. An example: Osegi fought like a wounded lion in the ring. Did you notice the word like in the sentence? Comparing Osegi to a lion? Another example is Chidi is as meek as a lamb. In the sentence, Chidi is as meek as a lamb. Chidi here is compared to a lamb using the word as. Number two, metaphor. In metaphor, two essentially unlike things or situations are also compared, but without the use of as or like. The comparison here is direct. Instead of saying A is like B, we say A is B. Consider some example. Bola is a chameleon, or B is a tortoise. Notice that in those two examples, both comparisons were direct. Number three, antithesis. Antithesis literally means opposite. It is a figure of speech in which two opposite ideas are put together in a sentence to achieve a contrasting effect. Examples are: united we stand, divided we fall. Another example is: to err is human, to forgive is divine. Number four, paradox. Paradox is a statement which, if taken literally, appears self-contradictory, but which, when examined, is found to express considerable truth. Now, let me take that again. Paradox is a statement which, if taken literally, appears self-contradictory, but which, when examined, is found to express considerable truth. Some examples are: 1. The pen is mightier than the sword. 2. Fools talk wisely. Number 5. Epigram. An epigram is a short, witty saying which seems to involve a contradiction. It is like a paradox, but expresses proverbial wisdom. Examples are: 1. The child is the father of the man. 2. Democracy is the election of the incompetent many for the appointed of the unscrupulous few. Please let me take that example again. 2. Democracy is the election of the incompetent many for the appointed of the unscrupulous few. Number 6. Oxymoron. Oxymoron is a figure of speech in which two opposite ideas are joined to create an effect. Examples are 1. Obi is the wisest fool in its community. Did you notice the two opposite words used in the example? Wisest fool. That's an example for oxymoron. Another example is, he will be rewarded for his cruel kindness. Note the phrase, cruel kindness, that it's an example of oxymoron. Number 7, climax. Climax is the arrangement of idea and events effectively in ascending order. Examples are 1. I came, I saw, I conquered. Another example, I want a pen, a paper, and a writing. Number 8, anticlimax. Anticlimax is the opposite of climax. Here, ideas and events are arranged in descending order. Number 9, irony. The author's meaning is quite different from what is literally said. An example is, her ninth, she said when I told her I had to work all weekend. So note that the example helps us to understand what irony is all about. The direct opposite of what it's meant. Number 10, euphemism. Euphemism is a polite, indirect expressions that replace words and phrases considered harsh and impolite, or which suggest something unpleasant. An example is, kick the bucket, which is used to describe someone who has died, or to describe the death of a person. Number 11, sarcasm. Sarcasm is an ironic remark tempered by humor. An example is, I didn't attend the funeral, but I sent a nice letter saying I approved of it. Number 12, litotes. Litotes is a figure of speech and a form of understatement in which a sentiment is expressed ironically by negating its contrary. And let me take that definition again. Litotes is a figure of speech and a form of understatement in which a sentiment is expressed ironically by negating its contrary. Now, an example will help us to understand this. It's not the best weather today during a storm. This example helps us to understand what litotes is all about. Number 13, alliteration. Alliteration is the repetition of identical consonant sounds. Example is, she sells seashells by the seashore. Number 14, rhyme. Rhyme is the repetition of identical vowel and consonant sounds. An example is, alone, bone, and cone. Another example is, bent and pant. Number 15. Personification. In personification, human qualities are given to non-living objects. An example is the sun smiled at us. Now notice in this example, the sun, an inanimate object, is said to be smiling. Number 16. Apostrophe. Apostrophe is a figure of speech in which the speaker directly addresses an absent or dead person, an abstract quality, or something non-human as if it were present and capable of responding. Consider some examples. Number 1. O nature, thou art my goddess. Number 2. Little lamp, who made thee? Number 17. Hyperbole. Hyperbole is a great exaggeration. Consider an example. She wept oceans of tears. Number 18. Metonymy. Metonymy is a closely associated idea used for the idea itself. An example is when you call the judiciary the bench. Won't the bench listen to my plea? In this example, the bench refers to the judiciary. Another example is calling the king the crown. The crown would not show any pity. In other words, you're saying the king will not show any pity. Number 19. Synecdoche. Synecdoche is a figure of speech in which a part of a thing stands for the whole or the whole stands for a part of a thing. An example is lend a hand.